Hi everybody, my name is Wesley and this is the Music from Outer Space voltage controlled spring reverb module. It's a pretty simple module, but it sounds great. It comes as a blank PCB, so you get to populate it yourself, do your own panel, and then plug it into this giant spring reverb tank or whatever tank you want to plug it into. I'm going to dive right into the demo, but if you're interested in the backstory behind this module, or if you're interested in building it yourself, you might want to stick around to the end because there are some important modifications that you have to make to the circuit in order to get it up and running properly. Well, let's dive right in. Okay, we're on the bench. Right off the bat, you can hear a little bit of noise. I'm hoping that'll go away once we get over to the rack and get everything plugged in. But let's see what she sounds like. Here's our dry signal by itself. And with the wet added. It sounds pretty decent, but let's get it racked up, see if that reduces the noise a little bit, and we'll see how it plays with an actual like 10 volt peak to peak modular synth waveform rather than just the line level output from the space station 2. Let's go. Okay, so we got this bad boy racked up right over there. There are several quirks with this that I found make it sound a lot nicer. So first of all, I took the input signal and passively multed it. I put the dry into a mixer and then put the wet into a mixer separately. And on the module itself, I have the dry signal turned all the way down. And so all of our headroom is going towards the wet signal, and it just seems like that produces a lot less noise. And so for comparison, I'm going to take the dry signal and crank it all the way up just so you can hear how the noise floor jumps up. If you've got headphones or nice speakers on, you can probably tell that the noise floor just went way, way up. So we can crank that all the way down. And it seems to sound a lot nicer, and I've found that if you don't have the gain cranked all the way up on the wet signal either, like it's a little bit noisier towards the top end of the gain, so if you just accomplish your mixing a little bit later down the signal chain in the mixer, you can really improve your signal to noise ratio with this module. So that sounds pretty okay, but I definitely want to try plugging some control voltage into the wet portion of the signal and see what happens. So here I've got a nice LFO, and I'm plugging that into the CV for the wet signal, and we can hear what it sounds like. We can attenuate that a bit. And we can also shorten the decay time by taking an envelope and applying it to the CV input for the wet signal. So now when we hit individual notes, it decays a lot faster. Although it's not the same as like a digital emulation, because any reverb that's still in there, you're going to hear again when the control voltage opens it back up. Which you could probably use to some interesting musical effect. So there are three things that I want to try out here. The synth, which you've already heard, and I also want to try it on guitar level signals, and I want to try it on a polyphonic pad. So let's bust out a guitar and see how that sounds. So I'm going to flip the switch and increase the gain and see how it sounds. So here's a fun sound that I designed on the Prophet Rev 2. Let's give it a shot. That's dry. Now let's add a little wet. definitely vibier. I like it. Now we can add a little LFO onto it. Well, that wraps it up for the demo. I hope you enjoyed that. As I mentioned earlier, there's a bit of a story behind this module. As many of you know, Ray Wilson, who is the creator behind Music from Outer Space, passed away several years ago. And apparently this was the last module that he was working on when he passed. So the reason you need to make some changes to the circuit before you can get it working properly is because not everything was fully complete when he passed away. And I think it's a very beautiful thing that the community rallied together to figure out what small changes still remained to get the circuit up and running. Apparently the circuit was fully designed, but the circuit boards weren't in their final version yet. So if you buy them off of Synth or any of the other distributors, you'll want to check out the links that I've put in the description, because they show the last couple of little kludges that you need to do to get everything working. And as you saw, there are a couple of quirks. The dry portion of the signal is a little noisy, so you can bypass it by using the module as an aux send. So there's like little things that you can do to really maximize the utility you're going to get out of this circuit. And of course, I'm going to put a link to the forum post where you can see some resistors that you can swap out to optimize this thing for either line level or instrument level signals, or you can install a switch like I did, so you can do a little bit of both. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I have lots more Music from Outer Space modules that I plan to do builds for, and some other manufacturers as well, like AI Synthesis and some other strip board layouts. So go ahead and subscribe if you want to see those, and have a good one.